Lux Anguis here, the mental prison. What do I mean by that? What is the infamous mental prison? Like always, I like to speak out of my own life experiences. What is out of that space the mental prison? I like to say the mental prison is a state of mind and of being you fear predominantly stuck in. And besides that, not only stuck in, but whatever you are trying to do or to get out from, it always almost like drags you back into it. Like, it does not matter how strong and how passionate you work, almost like against it. It just like overcomes you, and then you end up back again where you started, and the cycle unwittingly continues. And I have lived a certain period of my life heavily stuck in such a mental prison where it consisted of like bed, rotting, and being just depressed and not leaving the house and just being stuck in my own mental constructions, in my own feelings. And as we speak, it's very interesting, like outside a child is crying talking about prisons and hurt and trauma and of such. Well, and mental prisons are here for a reason. They're neither good nor bad. They are what they are, and I think that's very important. Also keep that in mind, so that you do not give those things the power that they shouldn't have over you, mentally speaking, and for your own self speaking. A mental prison is a mixture of many things, and I feel this was happening back then. I can say a mental prison consists of also your own traumas and hurt that you were still in some way incapable of walking through and to properly releasing it. And some trauma, unfortunately, it depends how deep it goes. It's almost impossible or like very, very difficult to address or to completely heal from. These cases are also real, and you have to find a different way then to walk with those, but yeah, let's just say that it's a mixture of a deep-seated hurt and certain feelings and bad habits resulting from that, and also self-concepts resulting from that, and mindsets and such. In my case, back then, I was still in a environment that very deeply resonated with these aforementioned things. Like a mental prison not only consists of your inner environment, it also consists of the outer environment. Sometimes things outside of your own self can trigger you in a way that makes you defensive, wants to shell off from the outside world, shell off of your own feelings, shell you off from other people and what have not, to protect your own self, to protect your energy, to preserve your energy, to preserve your awareness, because quite frankly, you need it to process whatever is going on, and the most toxic combination of that is for me personally, the phone use, like being in this state of depression and being stuck, and then having the phone too, and when you're abusing, not using, but abusing the phone for those things, the problem is you're constantly just entertaining yourself. You're not allowing yourself to just be and to just feel and to just process. You're just constantly swiping, watching, entertaining. And to a certain degree, it can help, but predominantly, it just unnecessarily holds up the process that you have to go through. And the mental prison and its wars, you give it the most power, so to say. And what they do have to change and walk towards, to stop and to destroy this mental prism, is by step, brick by brick, and I'm giving you some of these steps. What helped me a lot is to realize this version of myself that keeps up this prison has to die. It has to be let go of. And so what I did, I designed a personal ritual that literally sacrifices and destroys this ego that identifies too much with the prison, with the state of being. And besides that, I also enforced upon myself the necessary psychological, mental, and emotional healing that has to occur so that I do not rebuild again the bricks that I have torn out of this prison wall to get fresh air, to get different perspectives. And so, step number one, I would say, have some rituals, have some type of an act in place that gives your consciousness the awareness and the signal, okay, now I let my old self go, I sacrifice my old ego, and I invite healing of all of these aforementioned kinds within my own self. The second step is about opening up the doors for new opportunities, for new perspectives. And that can also mean change the environment, change the habits. Besides rituals for ego death and dissolution and acts of that kind, I also seeked out to open our doors to new connections, seeking a new workplace, seeking a new living environment. You don't necessarily have to live in a different apartment instead, what have not. You can just simply also redo your whole room and redecorate your whole room in a whole different room, a whole different style that can reset your whole daily construct of your back then prison. So changing your habits, changing your environment is step number 2. And step number 3 is in the next video that I will like to continue, of breaking out your own personal prison. So if you like it so far, like, subscribe, share, and also for more, consider looking into my bio and consider subscribing here too. Other than that, now consecrate, and we shall see hear us again.